Well, hello, it's Philip with you. Putting out another video on YouTube for everybody and stuff. I want to talk about land, its power. Land always takes the gains. Let me give you an obvious example. I'm quoting here from an old Sunday Times, the UK Sunday Times business article, where, and I'm just quoting, it came from an article from Erwin Seltzer. He writes occasionally for the Business Times. And he says this: in 1928, John Maynard Keynes, and he's considered one of the greatest economists, in an essay he titled Economic Possibilities for Our Grandchildren, Keynes predicted that within 100 years, and we're almost there now, in 100 years, technology would solve what he called mankind's economic problem, and we would live in an age of leisure and of abundance. Everyone would want some work to do. 15 hours a week should be enough, Keynes reasoned. And here we are almost 100 years later, and the average work week in the private sector in the UK is 34.4 hours, and it's not likely we can cut that to 15 in the time left until we have Keynes' deadline. It's 100 years of 2028. Okay? Now, he was considered one of the greatest economists, right, at making these sorts of predictions. He did not understand, he did not know the three factors of production: land, labour and capital. It's been taken down to two, and it's wrong. The land has been written out of the economic debate, and it's a great tragedy because it's making the world much poorer in its economic thought. So it tells you again, if you're listening to the opinion of an economist, or of anybody for that matter, and they have not studied the land question, you should stop listening to them, okay? And the reason Keynes was wrong is because it is land that takes the gains, all right? Land value. It capitalises into a price for which we have to spend the rest of our working life trying to afford, and these days the only way you can afford it is through a mortgage. There are two things you need that I would recommend. If you don't follow that, if you haven't understood it yet, you need to follow this. There's two books that you ought to read. The first is Fred Harrison's The Power in the Land, and that really is the most effective title, The Power in the Land. Fred shows you where all the gains go. That was written in 1983. It's been 100% accurate since then on his timing and stuff for the cycle. You should also, if you want it conclusively proven where all the benefits of society go, and it's land value, if you want that proven, you need to get this book, Taken for a Ride. You can get this from Shepherd Walwyn. I strongly recommend that you read it. You really only need to read chapters 2, 3, 4 and 5. It's only going to take you an hour. It's a very simple read, and it explains to you. This one's brought all the figures up to date of the Jubilee line that was built, and it just produced prodigious gains for people who held land along the line. Okay, the workers are still working as hard as ever. Really important. Okay, I'll leave it there. Get the two books. I urge you, do some reading. Okay, the gains go to land value. You need to know that as an investor, because otherwise you're going to die poor. Okay, thanks for today.